everyone. I'm James from SoundLink Magazine, and you're watching SoundlinkTV. Today, I'm joined by vocalist of Wretched, Billy Powers. Billy, how are you?
I'm doing solid, man. How are you today?
I'm fantastic. I'm always excited to have another North Carolinian on the show, or at least the band from North Carolina.
You know,
Um, I am in Chapel Hill, so I love the great state of North Carolina.
nice.
Um,
Yeah,
I'm curious because I first saw you guys recently in the ÆTHER Realm tour at
yeah,
Chapel
sick.
Bones,
Yeah, dude.
and I was
That was a
interviewing
good show.
Donny. Yeah, I was curious of like what does that like kind of mean to you guys as a North Carolina band to kind of play with another North Carolina band on a card like that, especially for a show where they're passing the torch to Donny, so to speak.
I mean, that was really a fun small run that we did. I mean, it was only like 5 shows, but and we all wished it would have been a lot longer than it was. But I mean, it was rad to play with them, man. I know that when they reached out to us, Steven hit us up collectively and was just like, so ÆTHER Realm, blah blah, they're doing this stuff. Donny is officially going to Cradle of Filth, which I mean he's already signed on for, and we were all like super amped about it, like definitely wanting to embark on that little side quest with them, so to speak. And dude, yeah, it meant a lot to us to be a part of it. I know that all the other bands that played, man, like they all had a great time. We all had a great time. It was just a fun all around experience to play with, people that were obviously incredibly passionate about, their craft as we are, and just to, talk with them and, dig a little deeper into each other's minds over those 5 days.
And if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that is the first tour or at least set of shows you played Decay on. Is that right?
Yeah. The first show that we played Decay on was the first show on that mini run, and that was in Atlanta at the Earl.
How do you like when you were playing that? Did it kind of give the reception you were kind of looking for? Like when it was making that live debut, obviously nobody's going to know the words at that point,
Yeah.
but like, did it kind of be received well in your opinion?
Yeah, I feel that it did, man. I mean, we played it a few songs into our set, and it was DKA, the title track from the new album, was the only song and is the only song from the album that we have played live in front of a crowd of people. I know now we've got the single Radiance out there, which we were going to play that live on the tour that we were supposed to be on right now, with 6 Feet Under, but stuff happened in that regard, so we weren't able to continue on that path. But we're yeah, man, I think the crowd reaction was what we wanted it to be. I mean, there was a point like that show specifically that you saw us at Chapel of Bones in Raleigh. I asked, hey, who's seen us before? Who is seeing us for the first time? And then, a third question I asked was, who's never even heard of us before? And a lot of the crowd erupted with that. And that tickles me to death when people respond in that way, but with such vigor and, like such an oomph, if you will. Because, that's the main goal is, like, it's great that people come back to see us play. It's great that people come to see us for the first time after having wanted to for so long, but to reach a crowd that has never even heard of us before and to gain a reaction like we had it's the best thing in the freaking world, man.
And what I find interesting about you all is like, and you could see this on the new album as well, is like your discography is like, you have very powerful vocals on your albums, so that's a compliment to you. But also, like the rest of the band as well has really insane instrumentals, and they have their own tracks as well that like really stand out as well. So like even on this one, I think you have what, a 16-minute and 1 second song of just instrumental.
It's pushing close to 17 minutes long. Yeah.
Well, if you count the one before it, you have another 3-minute instrumental.
Yeah, it's so, yeah. I mean, that's See, my cat is tearing up my freaking sound bar right now. Legion. Yeah, that's a daily freaking occurrence. She wakes me up with that shit.
Mine's on our dresser currently, so I get
Wonderful. Hey man, it's what it is. But no, dude. Yeah, with the intermission track, I like to call it, is that's called the Mortal Line. That one, yeah, with the addition of that, yeah, we're pushing like 19-20 minutes of instrumentation. And that one, the Mortal Line, that one, Steven was really adamant about putting on the album. He did all of the synth for that. He wrote it pretty much in one night, and was just like super, super intent upon putting that on the album, which we were all really cool with too. It was like coming out of Clairvoyance, and then that being the segue to that 16 plus minute long instrumental. It all worked out more beautifully than we could have hoped it to.
Do you kind of find it like hard when you're trying to put the placements of each track on the album? Because like immediately after, you're like jumping back in with the next song. Behind the glass ends, and then lights comes on, and
Yeah.
your vocals come right back in it. Do you kind of like, you want to be like so in your face after such a long kind of cool down after that?
Yeah, I mean, we did have, I mean, it's a pretty lengthy discussion. So the way that I write personally, with like the lyrical content and all the story stuff, is I wrote this entire album as the songs were given to me. So like the first track that I was given that was full and done was what ultimately became The Golden Tide, which is track 10 on the album. And then I was given what is now known as Blackout, which is track 11 on the album. And then you get to like the Crimson Sky, and then the Royal Body, and all the other ones as they actually fall into the storyline. So that's just the way that I write. And it's pretty much the same with all the other guys. We write songs, and then, once the vocals are put to it, then there's like a real feel for like how it actually goes. Because once I put my vocals, because I mean, yeah, it just takes a bit of time and a lot of brainstorming. It's like putting a puzzle together after you've got all the pieces. You just don't know how it's going to fit in place and how it's going to flow the best. So yeah, it takes a little bit of effort, and listening to it in a variety of order. If that makes sense. And then we just kind of like take a vote, and or maybe not take a vote. We just, everybody agrees at some point that, hey, yeah, this is the best flow of the album. But when it comes to, a 16 plus minute banger like Behind the Glass, and then going straight into Lights after that, we definitely did, that one ends with like some really nice melodic guitar work, and then goes straight into the crushing tone of Lights. And we wanted to do something that was much more in your face, but that song also sets the tone for that back portion of the album, where I do things differently vocally in that song than I've ever done in the past, at least on The Exodus of Autonomy and Beyond the Gate. And yeah, and like musically, it's a different song, and then you go straight into The Golden Tide, and then Blackout, and then we end the album with The Golden Skyway.
I find it funny you mentioned The Golden Skyway, because I was going to say that's like a perfect closure to the album, in my opinion.
Dude.
Like, it really flows so well.
Yeah, it's got such a positive feel to it, I guess would be the right set of words to use, after such a dark and, almost like creepy kind of like just a dark album overall, like with lyrical content and whatnot. And the tone of the music. The Golden Skyway was, once the ending of that song was written, we all kind of, prior to even putting those puzzle pieces together on how the layout of the album was going to be, I think we all kind of like really figured that was going to be the final track on the album.
Well, it's also interesting that you're like, it's kind of that positive note, but like, do you because in a way it's like a prequel to Beyond the Gate. So
It is a prequel to Beyond the
yeah,
Gate.
yeah. So do you see it like when you're writing lyrically for that? Like, is it a challenge to kind of tie in the stories that way to
Uh,
kind of conclude to match the two?
so when really sat down to write The Golden Tide, I didn't know if it was going to be a prequel at that point. And if it was going to be a prequel, I didn't know how far back I was going to be going or what the story was even going to entail for the most part. I had a few plot points, but nothing like concrete. Um, and I didn't know if it was going to be a direct sequel to Beyond the Gate. But as soon as I started writing, like the way that I write, words will literally just pop into my brain and I'll write them down. And it's just like, okay, this sounds like this is how the lyrical content should start on this one. And, I just wrote down They Began in the Dark because that just seemed like the most fitting thing to start that song with vocally. And at that point, like after I got like a little bit into the song, that's when I realized that, this is a prequel to, you know, the the creation of the lost talisman of Exorion. And as I went on through the story, lyrical content wise, and then also story content wise, there were a lot of parallels that I drew subconsciously, or like I was writing stuff subconsciously, but then when I would reread everything, I'd be like, holy shit, this is this. This is where this is going to happen. And, then I started noticing all of these things that I was just implementing without even knowing that I was doing so. And I just had all these epiphanies along the way. And that's like, I just pretty much wrote what came out of my freaking mind. And everything just kind of seemed to line up in a better way than I even imagined they would.
It's such a unique style, and I think when you're writing this whole process and how it went down, because a lot of the time you listen to it and it's like a lot of bands like Signs of the Swarm. I interviewed them not too long ago, and they on their new album, like David had the whole lyrics of everything he wanted to come out and
Mm-hmm.
say, and they wrote the instrumentals around that. But in this case, it sounds like the instrumentals came in and you kind of told this story with the instrumentals.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, it's such like a uniquely almost backwards way of doing it sometimes, but it's always interesting to see how people handle their writing styles and their storytelling aspects of things.
Yeah, like Steven, he'll sit down and he'll write pretty much the core of the music to himself. And I mean, he'll have an idea of what he wants everything else to sound like, but realistically, like, his job is guitars. And then Marshall will come in and he'll put drums on a demo track. And then Andrew will come in and he'll write his bass parts. If there's anything that anybody has any issues with, everybody is open to that conversation. And, we'll change things as they see fit. But when I write my vocals or my lyrics to a song, I always think of it in the sense that I'm just another instrument and I'm there to I'm there to be, just a solid addition to what is already there. And, not take away from, guitar or bass or anything like that. And just, like I like to pull back where I know that I should, or I feel that I should, just to let some guitar lines shine through, or bass lines, or like drumming or anything like that. So yeah, I think we all contribute the best way that we can, and it just kind of comes out the way that everybody's going to get it. And I mean, that's literally the same way it was with the Exodus of Autonomy and Beyond the Gate.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say I'm like a big D&D guy and like
Oh,
I
that's okay.
understand that whole realm of the thing, but I know that was the inspiration for a lot of the storytelling aspects of it.
Some of it was, yeah. Like, I mean, I definitely pulled, like, I mean, there's like characters in it. The creatures called the Skeletals, which is definitely something from D&D or Dungeon Crawl Classics, DCC, if you will. And I mean, realistically, the Beyond the Gate storyline started heavily influenced by Full Metal Alchemist, the anime.
Don't get me started. I'm still not over.
The
I'm still not
2003
over it.
series. The 2003 series.
Don't get me started on the dog and that whole thing. Anyway,
Yeah.
but you know, like I'm diving into that world ever so slowly, and
Hmm.
like friends are trying to get me into magic and all that stuff. But
I
um,
haven't teetered on that yet.
I haven't either. But they're really pushing. But I do think like it's different in the sense of music. Like I love a good concept album though, whether
Hmm.
it's like a fantasy style concept album or what. Like I love what Coheed and Cambria does with their
Yeah.
ever going stories. And
Yeah.
I think
And the
a lot of
comic books that come out along, like, as companion
yeah,
pieces.
yeah, and I love that. And like even like and that's how I kind of feel about your guys' tune is like you could tell these stories on these albums and like you don't have to be a fan of D&D to relate to what you guys are saying or like
Hmm.
understand what's going on. Hey, it's my cat. But yeah, you can, like I just think it's always interesting that you can tell those stories that way. Um, what all was like the big inspirations? I know obviously you said some D&D stuff, but like what other kind of things went into that writing process, that creative process that you were like, I got to get this on the album?
Um, so I would, over the past several years, like I always keep notes in my phone. Um, whether it's like a song title or just a line that I feel could be like really cool in some lyrical content or even story content. Um, I mean, I like a lot of sci-fi and fantasy, like whether it's like sci-fi horror films or maybe not so horror sci-fi, horror films in general, thrillers. Love comic books, as you can see behind me. My vast collection. I love like video games. I'm huge into stuff like Gears of War, The Elden Ring, or Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree, and even the new one, Night Rain. Um, yeah, I pull from a lot of fantasy and sci-fi influence, and like I freaking love Lord of the Rings. Uh, anything like that. Michael Crichton's writing style, how he does so much, how he did so much research.
R.I.P.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, he did a lot of research before, writing everything that he did, so that it would make sense. Even if he was writing about a freaking theme park that was full of dinosaurs. And then there was Congo. There so many of his writings were freaking phenomenal. Um, but yeah, I mean, when it comes to what I pull from, honestly, like with Beyond the Gate, I started with Sumerian Shambhala, or no, not Sumerian Shambhala. I started with Birthing Sloth, which was a direct relation, and then My Carrion. And after I wrote those, I was just like, there's something different here. I started writing I started writing Sumerian Shambhala, and then that's when I noticed that there was something different that wasn't in that world of Full Metal Alchemist that I could take in a different direction, and create my own story with. So that's how that happened. And then with this one, I just built on that and, started world building, created a map in my mind of all of these locations and, started doing plot points, as soon as I got through, the Golden Tide. And that's when I really started doing the plot points and figuring out, okay, this is where I want this album to end, which the final track, The Golden Skyway, is actually the last chapter in this story, and it does leave on a cliffhanger. So the next album will absolutely tie directly to this.
And it's interesting that you say that because like this album took you about what 2 years ish to kind of write everything down and kind of piece together. Are you
Yeah.
still
I
like
mean,
actively looking at like maybe the next album, even though this one is still kind of
I mean,
coming?
yeah, we've been sitting on this material. Like, we tracked it all in April of 2024 at the beach, at one of Steven's family's spots out there. And yeah, we tracked everything pretty much out there. I mean, I had a little bit more to take care of that I wanted to like edit around, at the basement, uh, at Steven's spot. And yeah, we've been sitting on this material for well over a year and a half now, and just been waiting for it to come out. So everybody is absolutely ready to start writing the next album for sure. But we do want to get a little bit of touring down to support this one ahead of time, ahead of doing that.
Do you? Because it's been a little while since your last album.
Oh, it's been 11 years. Yeah.
Look, I'm trying to be generous here.
Yeah. August 7th was the first new material we dropped in about 11 years. Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to be generous for you, but
No, it's
yeah,
okay.
it's been a hot minute.
The elephant in the room, man.
Yeah, well, it's been 11 years, and now you've kind of gone and come back and everything like that as well. Is it like a sense of homecoming putting out the album? Like this is your story, you're able to continue on what you were building on before, and the fans' reception as well overall seems very excited for the band. Like I was on Reddit today, God bless me, and all I saw today was like Wretched is so back. Like this is insane. Billy's fantastic on vocals. Steven's great on good. Like everybody was piecing compliments together. I was like, this is
Good.
kind of what I expected. Like, is that like proud to see after
Absolutely.
11 years? Like this is holy shit coming together.
Yeah, I mean, like, because I mean, like, with this album, I mean, you've heard it, so you know that, like, this one is I don't know if necessarily would be considered a huge risk, but I mean, we're definitely taking a chance with this one. We're stepping away a bit from the technical death metal side of things. I mean, it's still a bit of a death metal record.
It's still different though, but it's different.
Yeah, it's really hard to pigeonhole this one in there though. Like it's very different from a lot of the music that's being pushed out right now. So that in itself is a risk. But to see, the reaction from Decay, the single, and Radiance as well, it's very humbling. It's nice to see that people give a shit, because that was another thing. It's been 11 years since the band put out new material. It's been 15 years since I've been with the band, or released something with the band. And yeah, it could have gone either way. Nobody gave a shit, or people gave a shit. So it seems like people care. And are pretty amped about the new album, which I hope everybody is pleased when it comes out, as I am and we are, to give it to everybody, because I'm super proud of this one, and I know everybody else in the band is too.
Yeah, I think once I heard it, Decay at the ÆTHER Realm show in Raleigh, I think I ran to my email when I got home and I emailed your PR and was like, "Can I get this early album stream so I can cover this thing?" And
Dude,
I finally got it, and I was like, "This was so worth the wait."
Dude, hell yeah!
I think a lot of people, when they listen to it, and be like, "Holy shit, this was worth the wait."
I hope so.
Yeah, so I'm very excited for you guys. And I just got a couple more kind of fun questions.
Yeah. Shoot them at me, man.
Horror and metal kind of go hand in hand a lot
Sure.
of the time. And you mentioned that's some of your influences, but like, what are some of those horror influences, whether it's horror video games or horror movies? Like, what are you pulling from as just like maybe a decompressor or just something that you kind of just want to relax and do?
I mean, when it comes to like video games as a decompressor, I don't know if you would really consider Elden Ring or Night Rain to be decompressors, because they're so on the edge of your seat. And I mean, I'm on my seventh playthrough of the base Elden Ring game and the DLC, and there are bosses that I get to, and I'm still on the edge of my seat, and my heart rate still gets going. And I mean, that's a good thing for me, we're just sitting around and watching silly shit. Like right now, my lady and I were watching freaking Star Wars, the Clone Wars, the animated series, and we're about done with one. It's pretty sick, man. Like, I've never watched it before. I never watched it in real time in 2014 when it came out. But yeah, it's pretty rad. And then, other stuff that I really dig, like, when it comes to anime, there's very few that I have really fallen in love with. Full Metal Alchemist is one. Inuyasha, Wolf's Rain is another one, even though it's completely freaking devastating, as the best ones usually are. Cowboy Bebop for sure. And then, other live action sci-fi things like my roommate and I, we're watching Farscape right now. We're just getting through season 4, I believe the final season, and then we get to watch a movie. And then stuff like Battlestar Galactica. I mean, freaking, like I said, I love Lord of the Rings, the Harry Potter series, all the fun shit that, an adult should enjoy.
See, I just got the new Silent Hill game, so I'm grinding on that.
Nice.
I've never played a Silent Hill game. I'm a Resident Evil guy most of the time.
Yeah.
Fuck it, I'll buy it, and I bought it. And then what is she? She's making me watch. My wife is making me watch the Conjuring series, like the whole way through for Halloween.
You've never watched any of it?
No.
Oh, dude, it's so sick. Like, I fucking love that series. I love that. And then there's another one called Insidious.
Yeah, I know that one.
Have you watched that one?
I haven't, but I know it.
I would watch. That one's really cool because I'm really a huge fan of like lucid dreaming and the concept of that. That one's really sick.
My wife is down there. She goes, "Hell yeah!"
Oh yeah, dude, that's awesome. Yeah, but the Conjuring series is really cool. Are you watching it in like?
Yeah, we're watching it chronological. So we just finished The Nun 2, and then we're starting Annabelle tonight.
Gotcha.
But we were watching this shit, and I kid you not, we have a fan blowing on us, and the fan literally like turns off and on just randomly out of nowhere. So I was like, I don't know. And then all of a sudden I have COVID. I'm starting to think you shouldn't be watching this series.
Yeah, there's a parallel. There's something. Dude, it's weird. Like, so like when it comes to like weird supernatural type of shit, like I don't know if this could qualify, but so I traveled up to North Carolina a couple weeks ago to rehearse with Wretched so that we could start this tour that we're not doing anymore. But that entire time up there, so when I'm here in Georgia, in this room specifically, I will get Christmas songs stuck in my head, or I'll just start humming the tune or the theme song for Green Acres. I know exactly. The entire time I was in North Carolina, neither of those things popped into my head. The day I get back last week, I start getting Christmas songs stuck in my head, and then I stand up off of my couch in my bedroom to go to the bathroom, and on my way to the bathroom, I start humming the fucking Green Acres song. So, I don't know, man. I think I need to freaking cleanse this room or something.
It's the curse of Silent Night, Deadly Night.
But yeah, I mean, it's not like it's annoying or anything. It's just like, why are these things stuck in my head right now? I don't need this. This is not like what spirit is here that still has in their spiritual realm freaking Christmas decorations all over the place and watching Green Acres on repeat over and over again.
And my last question, besides the paranormal shit we got going on here, what is the deal? Have you been on your website lately? I guess is the first question I should start with.
Are you like our merch store or?
Just your overall website. Because I was on it the other day, just doing my research, and I see the Oregon Trail emulator.
Oh.
Playable on your website.
Yeah, that's a fun addition. I believe Marshall he set that one up so that when people come to our site, they can just have something stupid to do,
I was like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. I've never been on a band website and got to play a full emulator before.
Yeah, it's just so people can be entertained, man. It's just, I mean, it's as kids, that was one of our go-tos on our PCs when floppy disks were actually floppy. And now it's there for everybody to enjoy so that you can have a little taste of our childhood.
Got to get some Pokemon on there.
Got to get a bunch of stuff. Maybe even freaking, what's the Prince of Persia?
Oh,
the OG one where it's just like platforming and, glitchy as hell. I loved playing that.
Oh, wow. All right, brother. I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, definitely.
SoundlinkTV Magazine. That's Billy Powers from Wretched. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, thank you, man.